We're gonna make a soup, and I want to actually roast my ingredients. You can definitely do this in pot the way you would regularly make a soup, and it would work absolutely fine. But I want to roast my ingredients so that I get a little bit of a different taste profile here. And what I'm gonna do is really simple. Take a piece of parchment paper, and I'm gonna run it under water. And what this does is it sort of crunches up the paper into almost like a little ball, and I can squeeze out some of the excess. But now it's a little more malleable, and I can, manipulate it a little bit more. Plus, it has a little bit of moisture in there, so that'll help in sort of like steaming and cooking the ingredients. And we're gonna keep this pretty simple. So I'm gonna add a bunch of carrots, and I put on there, I think, about 6 medium carrots. What's a medium carrot? I think is the question. Yeah. So usually, these are 2 ends, but usually something about like this would be like a 1 carrot, 1 medium carrot. Yeah. But you can, just roughly chop them up and put them in any way you like on here.
And I've even seen carrots pre-chopped. They could come in, they're still fresh, but they're already chopped. And since this is a soup, you definitely could use that. You don't need it to be long.
Yeah, absolutely.
The shape doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and we're gonna just season it. It's got a little pinch of salt on there. And we're gonna add our turmeric. So I'm going about half a teaspoon. You can go more if you want. It is pretty strong. And might as well add a little bit of the fresh. Be careful when you are handling either or, they will stay in your hands. And it takes a few days to wash out. You will wash it out, but if you have gloves, you can use gloves, or it's too late for me. I'm already in there. And so I'm going to just grate a little bit of this fresh turmeric on top. I love the flavor. Yeah. Really, really nice.
And you may have seen turmeric in various curries. That's traditionally where you may have seen. But certainly in soups. Today we're seeing it being added into smoothies, all sorts of teas as well. I've seen it in milk and lattes. So it's a really great spice to flavor up. So her question was about ground pepper. And so often, you often see turmeric with pepper paired, and it's not just because it tastes really yummy and it gives a good flavor, but it actually has some nutrition-related health benefits. Because, as I mentioned, there's a compound in turmeric called curcumin, and that compound is actually not well absorbed in the gut. And so when you add black pepper, which has something called piperin, that actually helps the two absorb. So we often see in lots of different dishes the pairing. So you may have also heard about iron and vitamin C. So those two, when they are eaten or had together, the absorption will be enhanced. Yeah.
So here we're actually adding black pepper with the turmeric, a little pinch of salt, very, very simple. And we're gonna continue with the orange theme. I'm gonna add a little bit of orange as well. So wash the orange well, just like I did with the lime. Use the zest on the outside, tons of flavor there. Yeah. And I'm gonna add a little bit of that juice from the orange as well on top. This again is gonna help to cook because of the moisture. It'll help to cook and steam the carrots, but when the orange juice is sort of cooked, it develops this other sort of concentrated, sweet flavor that is really, really tasty in the soup. I just destroyed this orange. Didn't mean to do that. And then garlic. You can add just a few cloves, or if you don't like a lot of garlic, I love garlic, especially when it's roasted and it's like nice and soft. So what I'm gonna do is actually just cut this guy in half, like this, and I'll go easy. I'll put half of it. You can put all of it. Yeah. I'll put half of it.
I often find that when you're using garlic roasted, it comes out as more of a sweeter taste.
Yes, yeah, you lose a lot of that heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a little bit of olive oil on top, and I'll just gently toss And now I'm going to bundle this up like a package. And this is why I wet the parchment, because it's easier to create this sort of like purse package. I just sort of roll up the edges on the top. You can get someone to help you here too. And then the ends, I'll roll up. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to try to create as best of a seal as possible. Yeah. Roll up the other end. That's it. Yeah. This goes on a baking pan, and that goes into the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. And all the juices from the carrots and from the turmeric and from the orange is going to stay inside that package. So I'm not going to lose anything, which is what I want, especially for flavor. It's going to all go into our blender. If I did it in a pot, which you can do, as things heat up and evaporate, you lose a little bit of that flavor and of those juices. So I kind of want to keep everything intact. Yeah. So 30, 40 minutes.
And again, soups are a great way to incorporate foods for those who are managing their weight, because they tend to be lower in calories and have lots of vegetables. But should you want to incorporate more protein or more calories, then you could always add milk or cream. You could even add some of that lentil flour, or powder, right, to maybe thicken it a bit.
What's that smell? Is that from the...
So those are the roasted.
There's the green peas are cooking too. It's a little bit of everything, but yeah, some of that turmeric, some of that garlic. I smell a little bit of that concentrated orange. And so can you guys see that? So it's got this nice caramel color. The garlic cloves, I had it out of the skin. So just remember that, because I made that mistake once. If you put the half a head of garlic in, squeeze the garlic cloves out. And so yeah, everything goes in the blender. And again, the parchment is thrown out. So again, less dishes to cook. I mean, or clean. All you have to do is really clean the blender here. And then add a little bit of hot liquid. That hot liquid can be whatever you want. It could just be simple water. It can be chicken stock, vegetable stock, beef stock. I have just a quick mushroom stock, which we have videos on how to make this. This is super simple. It's just water and dried mushrooms and a couple bay leaves. And you just simmer that until you get a really nice sort of fragrant mushroom stock. That I think it's the easiest one to make, and it's really tasty. So,
and also making your own, or just making your own soup or adding water will decrease the amount of sodium that you're adding into the soup. So again, for those who are watching their blood pressure, so with hypertension, or for those who are retaining water, staying away from the high sodium stocks is a good option.
And so we're just going to puree it, blend it, and you can make it a little thicker, a little thinner. So go with a little bit of liquid at a time. Anytime, rule of thumb, I know most of you know, anytime we're adding hot liquid to a blender, always take the lid off and use a dish towel to release the steam. Otherwise, that soup is flying up to your ceiling. You don't want any of that pressure to build in here. And start off at the lowest. See how Stephanie, I can see her slowly backing away from the blender.
We're good.
Start off at the lowest setting. Yeah, this beautiful creamy, like the orange in this is incredible.
Yeah.
And
so again, you're
really
getting
tasty.
Great antioxidants that are, lots of research has been showing that the different antioxidants from different foods, from different colors, have cancer-fighting effects. So certainly prevention is definitely one of the top things of kind of having all your different colors.
So I'm just gonna plate this up. So I just toasted up a little bit of bread, a little bit of parsley. You've got your turmeric carrot soup. And then I'm just gonna finish it, just a little bit of olive oil on top. I know that was always coming. And that's it. That's our roasted carrot turmeric soup. Done.
Freeze this soup.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. Yeah.